afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be in this beautiful planet of ours. This is Marc, Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector, here for another inspirational Monday. Welcome to Metaphysical Mocha Mondays. I am your host, Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector. How's everybody doing out there this morning? It is Monday. Today is June. Gotta look at the date. The dates go by so quick. It looks like today is June 10th. And today we're going to be talking about some personalities to avoid for your spiritual path. So good morning to you. If you're just joining, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm here every Monday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. At 8:30, stick around, guys, for the Prospecting Q&A after show where I'll have a direct conversation with you. It's our spiritual community. It's a place to get a reading, mediumship, psychic, intuition. You just never know what the day is going to bring, and you never know what I'm going to get. So I'm broadcasting here from my studio back in Seattle, Washington. I was up in Canada last week, so I want to just say thank you to Nicole and Todd for hosting me. We had a fabulous weekend up at the Studio of Love of Avery Kine. We did a weekend where it was mediumship demonstration on Friday night, a Saturday workshop called Nice Aura, which is a metaphysical workshop where we work with the energy, the frequency, and the vibration to unlock the secrets of the universe. And then on Sunday, we did a platform practical where we practice being on the platform and connecting to the world of spirit. So if you're just joining me this morning, make sure to like, subscribe, share out. For those that share out, I actually add you into a drawing at the end of the month. So I've reached out to last month's winner for May, and that's a free 30-minute reading. If you share out the page to somebody that needs maybe today's message, somebody that needs to hear today's inspiring message, but any kind of share out, or I've just put a link into my YouTube library. If you subscribe to my YouTube playlist, you're entered into a free drawing at the end of the month, and I pick one person, or I should say the spirit world picks one person to have a free 30-minute reading. So make sure to share, make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and most importantly, make sure to get your top fan badge by interacting with the page. So let's get started with most things. We need coffee, we need tea. So this morning, I'm drinking one of my favorite coffee shops. It is called Bird on a Wire. So that's right down the road for me here in West Seattle. It's actually a pretty cool little coffee shop. In fact, don't tell anybody, but sometimes Eddie Vedder from Pearl Jam stops in and hangs out. So kind of a cool, just off the beaten path coffee shop. So let me know where you're at in the world. Let me know if you're a new fan. Let me know if you're just joining in. Let me know if you're liking the show that I do. I picked Mondays to interact with people because I found it to be one of the most lowest vibrational days of the week. And it's a great time to jumpstart the week, jumpstart the week ahead with inspirational messages, guidance. And so this morning I'm going to be talking about happy prospectors avoid these types of personalities. This is something that I've had to face in my journey, people that I try to avoid in my spiritual path. And you'll notice that as you go along your spiritual path, it's a little bit more lonely because you choose not to be around with certain types of people. And so I'm going to just explain to some of the personalities to avoid, or at least limit your interactions with, because it just helps your spiritual path be that much more peaceful. And you always have the choice of wanting to be right or wanting to be at peace, to pick your battles. For me, it's about all being about peace and just enjoying life without getting caught up in a lot of the personalities of life. And we've all seen the personalities. So the first one I want to talk about this morning, as we have our coffee and we have our tea, is the skeptic mind. Those skeptics that come to my events, the skeptics that I've read for. And I think it's healthy to be skeptical, but I want to just kind of get into the nuts and bolts of the skeptic and what the skeptic looks like. And we'll be talking about a few different personalities, from the skeptic to the complainer to the victim, to the gossip, to the passive-aggressive type of personalities. But this morning, I want you just to take a deep breath with me. It's a little bit hot here this morning here in Seattle. But take a deep breath with me. Find the magic in the moment, and we do that through the power of breath. So let the future thoughts go. Let the memory of your past go, because we can't do anything about those. But what we can do is start planting seeds for today and the future we want for tomorrow. And we do that by moving into the magic of the moment. So take a deep breath. And really just move into what I call the magic of the moment. I'm going to turn a little fan on so it might get a little loud here, because it's actually really hot. And as I start to work, I heat up normally, just energetically, because you're dealing with frequency and energy and vibration. So this morning, let's talk about the skeptic. And again, at 8:30, join me for the Prospecting Q&A after show, where I have a direct conversation with all of you amazing spiritual prospectors all around the world that's been supporting me for well over a year. That I'm in my second season of Metaphysical Mocha Mondays, and I truly appreciate you and thank you for hanging out with me on a Monday morning and hearing the inspirational messages. So again, share out, subscribe, like. Let's do a little spiritual prospecting for your own spiritual gold. And as I like to say, dare to dream, dare to explore, dare to live. All right, let's go prospecting. All right, so let's talk about the skeptic. And the skeptics, when you're in the spiritual path, I found in my own journey, not everything is rainbows and butterflies and kitty cats and unicorns. That you really run into as a psychic, as a spiritual medium, as a light worker, as somebody that works on spiritual healing. Wow, really heating up. It's usually not this hot in Seattle, so I'm not used to this. Maybe I should open a window, get some airflow. So hopefully it won't cut into the mic too much, but I'm going to get some airflow coming in here in the studio. But the skeptic is the person that I find in my journey. And again, you can agree to disagree. And we all have your own experiences, but just sharing my personalities that I try to avoid, if I can, for my own sanity, for my own peace of mind, for my own just quietness in life, because life can be pretty hectic and pretty loud and pretty chaotic. But the skeptic, I find, usually they find a negative in everything. The world isn't changed by skeptics, but it's by those visionaries, those people that are very optimistic like myself, that reset potential challenges. We find solutions to problems, ways to overcome and not be drawn in by the skeptics. There's that saying, misery loves company, and there's a lot of truth to that. Even just growing up, my real father, I'll share real quick, was very, very negative, and it was very hard to be around somebody growing up that was very negative, and always found the negative things in life. And again, you always have the choice to be optimistic or pessimistic. The choice is yours. Nobody else makes that for you except for you. And so for me, growing up, I was around a lot of negative self-talk, a lot of negative outlook, and it's probably a big reason why I do the work I do today, because of my upbringing and because of my childhood. Because I'm always looking at the optimistic approach. I'm always looking at it as the glass half full. I'm always saying focusing on the good things always coming your way versus the negative things. So, try to avoid the skeptics. I know when I do my events, when I do an event like on Friday night, the first thing I ask is, how many skeptics do I have in the crowd? Because again, I think it's healthy, especially for the work that I do as a psychic, as a medium, as somebody that's working on things that aren't necessarily seen here in the physical world, but as a medium, we see and we feel a lot of things in the unseen world. Very much like the wind. We see the effects of the wind, but we don't actually see the wind. The spirit world and working as a spiritual medium is much the same way for me, anyway. But I always ask, where are my skeptics in the crowd? And the two events that I've done where I've asked that, the spirit world has come to that person in the back. They're usually in the back of the room. I say, where are my skeptics at? One person will kind of slightly raise their hand because they don't want to really stand out, which I understand. It's a public forum. But then I say, raise your hand up high and be proud to be a skeptic, because you're here to show the proof, the intelligence, the evidence, and love of the spirit world. And honestly, guys, the last two events I've done, the first reading where a connection, it was a father-in-law and a mother that come through, and it went to that person, that skeptic in the back corner. So it never ceases to amaze me. But it's always healthy to have that skeptical mind, especially when it comes to metaphysics, because when it's psychic or mediumship, I always say, I like that science and spirituality shake hands for the work I do. I have a background of very critical thinking, root cause analysis, life-saving work. And so for me, it's bridging that gap of pseudoscience. You can't prove what I do, but you can't disprove. And I'm never trying to prove the spirit world of what I do, but let the spirit world prove it for itself through evidence, through accuracy, through stories, through that just feeling. And we all feel, hopefully. So that's just one person to avoid on your journey. Today we're talking about personalities to avoid for the happy prospector. If you want to be a happy prospector and find the joys in life, then some of the people that you need to move away from are the skeptics. The other one is the victim. This is, the victim mentality, and there's a lot of people I know that play the victim, that the entire world is against you. It's the Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh. Nothing goes right. Everything is just going to, the victim is always going to find a way to make it seem like they can't catch a break in life ever. Everything is against them. The deck is stacked against them. They rarely see good in others, in the world in general. And then sometimes, I can even play the victim because I get so caught up in what we're doing to our planet as a humanitarian, as a spiritualist, of what we're doing and poisoning our planet and the things that we're doing. I can get up and play that victim. But at the same time, when you're playing the victim, you're not seeking success. You're not looking for the good in the day. And so for me, when I am feeling the victim mentality, and again, that's something normal, the human condition, the human species, it's a good way for me to change my mindset and say, you know what, I'm not going to play the victim because it's easy to play the victim in life, but I'm going to find an attitude for gratitude and move past that thought process, that belief system, because you don't have to believe everything that your thoughts are telling you guys. And that's why I do Metaphysical Mocha Mondays, a way to connect with all of you beautiful spiritual prospectors all around the world, to inspire you, to guide you, to educate you, to teach you, to learn from you. That's what this show is about every Monday morning. Again, we start at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We'll go for 30 minutes for the inspirational show. And if you guys stay here on the Intuitive Prospector channel, make sure to subscribe, like, or share. Get your top fan badge. At 8:30, I'll be back where it's the Prospecting Q&A after show, and I do readings, direct conversation with you. We'll continue the spiritual chat, continue the conversations, and then this show here will actually premiere over on my YouTube channel. So I put the link in the field. Make sure to get on my YouTube channel, guys, because it's a lot of different shows, just not Metaphysical Mocha Mondays. It's 4 seasons of Inspired Living Radio, all my 4 years of podcasts. It's hiking videos, diving videos, meditation videos, what I call soul adventures. So make sure to subscribe to that, and let's continue the prospecting journey together. So we've got the skeptic, we have the victim. How many of you know about the complainer in life? The complainer, whether they're complaining about their job or their marriage or their sports team, whatever they have going on in their life, they're going to find a way to complain about it. I, too, have been in this scenario. Everything I'm talking about today, I usually can find myself in one of these categories, but not repeating the pattern of that category, and not being caught up in that energy and being mindful. Mindfulness is very, very important. So, when you're around somebody that's a complainer, it's a constant drain. I found in my own, energy vampire, something I taught about on Saturday, is really paying attention to your own energy and the people you surround yourself with, because people really can drain your energy. They want to waste, they want to waste time complaining about anything that is positive, or if you don't agree with them. I find if you don't agree with the complainers, then, they'll always have something to complain about, and you're just wasting your time, and maybe just move away. We have family, we have friends. You can still love people from a distance, but it doesn't mean that you have to interact with them on a daily basis. So we've got the skeptic, we've got the victims, we've got the complainer personalities. How about the envious? How many of you guys know somebody that's just, oh, that would be nice if I could do what you do? Or, I get told that, a lot with, gosh, Mark, I wish I could do what you do. And I tell them, why can't you? I chose to do this. I chose to leave my full-time federal job, start working part-time so I could focus more on my spiritual path, focus more on writing, focus more on my podcast, focus more on the spiritual journey. That's a choice, a conscious choice I made. And so, I always tell people, don't get caught up with the envious people. There's that telltale sign of someone who is envious, and it's usually, oh, it must be nice, to have that. And they have that power and that choice. I want to give you a quote for today. And today's quote, your inspirational message for the week, is your limitation, it's only your imagination. So think about that for a second. You are limited by your imagination. You're limited by what you choose to do. Your free will and your choice are the greatest power you have while you guys are here on this physical journey. So, if you're feeling limited, open up your imagination, because it's only your limitation is your imagination. You can go wherever you want, do whatever you want, be whoever you want, and you're going to have critics along the way. You're going to have the naysayers. But the key to success is not to focus on the goals, not the obstacles. It's just to keep moving forward and keep that mindset positive. So, just something to think about, for the day ahead, for the week ahead, on personalities to avoid. And then, like I said, your limitation is your imagination, and you can choose to move into that. So thanks for joining me this morning. Grab your coffee, grab your tea. This is Metaphysical Mocha Mondays with your host, Marc Lainhart. If I know you already, welcome back. If I don't know you, thanks for finding your way here. Somehow you found your way to this channel. You found your way to this show. I always say that there's usually a reason and a season for that. So let's continue the prospecting, talking about the envious, talking about the people that are envious of your life and the things that you're doing. But, the folks that would rather spend their time gawking at how awesome someone else's life is, and we have that in social media, how many likes can I get, how many shares can I get, and, just really living somebody else's life versus your own. It's really about focusing on working on your own, not, being in competition with other people, but being in competition with yourself. Because a lot of times for the envious personalities that I've been around, they want you to feel that same way that they do. But, they can reach their life goals if they choose to, and, stop spending time being envious of other people's success. Start, planting those seeds today for the future you want tomorrow. So, again, we've got the envious, we have the complainers, we have the skeptics, we have the victims, we also have the envious, and we also have the judgmental. How many of you have been judged? Raise your hand. Yeah, all of us have been judged. It's easy to sit back and not do anything and just judge others. I do this when I'm watching sports, quarterbacking, armchair quarterbacking, like, oh, I could do that so much better. And we all, it's normal to move into that judgment energy, but also having mindfulness of, are you getting satisfaction by judging those that are doing things outside of the norm? I'm sure somebody watching this show right now would be judging me because I'm a psychic or I'm a spiritual medium, but then not knowing my backstory of why I became who I became because of the severe trauma and tragedies of murder, brain cancer, multiple sclerosis, and losing a lot of family members at young ages to really change who I am today and the work that I do as a spiritualist, as a humanitarian, as a psychic, as a medium, as a healer, as a writer, as a radio show host, and as a host here on Facebook and YouTube. But as far as when it's the judgmental personality that you're around, and you guys all have them in your life, you know exactly who I'm talking about. A judgmental person tends to have a narrow mind and can't see anything besides their own worldview. This is where I find if you don't fall into their privy of their mindset, then they're going to judge you because you're not fitting in. We see a lot of this in politics right now. We see a lot of gaslighting. If you don't know the definition of gaslighting, I did a show on Inspired Living Radio last year talking about what gaslighting really is. And so look that up if you don't know what gaslighting is. But I find that people that are judgmental of me, or the personality of being in the judgmental personality, is they'll try to make you do the same and get you to join the fun of judging others, falling into that trap, which is also can be gossip, that misery loves company. But be careful of falling into those type of circles. Avoid that if you can, because it just does not. It doesn't benefit your higher self. It doesn't benefit your energy. It doesn't benefit your positive mind thinking. Definitely doesn't benefit your attitude. So be careful of the judgmental personalities. So again, just sharing with you this morning some personalities to avoid. There's a lot of them. There's the what I call the dramatist. This is a person that lurches from drama to drama and insists on regaling you with every detail. That is draining. I don't know if you guys have been around what I call the dramatist, but when somebody is always just they get excited about other people's drama, other people's misery, and they like to talk about that. For me, I don't want to enjoy somebody else's crisis, and I definitely don't want to talk about it and be caught up on it. But getting into disagreements, usually with people like service providers, storekeepers, people who aren't close to them, it makes them feel validated by having, well, I am the customer and I have a complaint, so you must pay attention to me kind of energy. And I had to do this yesterday, unfortunately. I actually had to complain for dinner. We went to a place, and it was one of the worst dinner experiences I've ever had. I'm not kidding, guys. And so I slept on it because I wanted to talk with the general manager the next morning of the hotel and the food and beverages manager. And after I expressed myself, and did it in a positive, kind, caring, compassionate way, because you don't know what you don't know as a manager. I wanted to let them know of just how bad the experience was, and even from a food service standpoint, as far as maybe even get in trouble for how they served. They came and took our fries that were cold off our plates, took them back into the kitchen, and then brought them back out. I don't know if they refried them or got us new fries, but it was just a big no-no. But I had to express myself, and some people could claim that to be the dramatist, but it's about improving the process too, and letting people know that you've got something that's had a negative experience. Communication, which in 2019 is the year of the 3, and it's all about communication this year, guys. A self-expressive creative, expressing in a way that I can let them know that their service was very poor and it was a poor experience. They gave me a gift card. I wasn't looking for that, but I just wanted to let them know that it was a bad experience, and so they can try to correct it, because again, it's just about improving, always moving forward to improve. But some people can say, oh, Mark was a drama queen about that. He was a dramatist. But really, I'm not. But you guys know the people that I'm talking about. They just move from drama to drama to drama. I've seen it in the spiritual path. I call it spiritual snobbery. People getting caught up in the drama of other people's readings or events or all of that stuff. That's not something that I personally in my spiritual path, and I recommend if you're on a spiritual journey, if that unfoldment, that awakening is happening, is not to get caught up with the dramatist. You get the critical one. You get people that are very critical. They want to control the situation. I used to be this as a Taurus, wanting to control my environment, control my situations, especially when I was much younger. But as I've gotten older, I realized the only thing I'm ever in control of are my thoughts and how I react to my thoughts. So the critical one, can't bear to see anyone happy. So they may pick holes in your achievements or your triumph. I've had this. I've had people come at me. The critical one. The other one I would say to avoid is the cynic. Now, the cynic for me is really, it's a person that believes, with the difference between a cynic and a skeptic, it's a person that believes that only selfish motivates human actions, and they disbelieve or they minimize selfless acts, or they're very disinterested in points of view. It may be a person who shows a bitterly sneering attitude towards you. They may even try to turn it back on you. I avoid cynical people, especially for my readings. If somebody's cynical, you can't really work with somebody that's cynical. It's kind of the amplifier of the skeptic, and you're not going to change your minds. And I don't try to change people's minds. I just share my experiences and let them decide for themselves. But the cynic is definitely somebody that I try to avoid in my spiritual journey. The controller, like I said, is just somebody that's wanting to control the situation. They usually have low self-esteem, I found in my journey. They're fearful of everything. They're not willing to do anything. And then you also get the conversational hijacker. I find this a lot personally in a few of my relationships. This is a person that can turn any conversation around to them. So you start with something and it comes back to them, and they're always one-upping you. So if I said that I have my Jeep, and I love my Jeep, my 2008 Jeep, and it's paid for and I love it, the conversational hijackers say, well, yeah, I have a brand new Jeep, and it's a 2019, and it's way better. So the conversation turns back and it pivots back to them. This is the conversational hijacker. Like I said, I've done it myself in my past. So a lot of these things that I'm sharing with you, don't think that I haven't experienced it myself and been in one of these categories. But when you have mindfulness and you start moving in the spiritual path of things to avoid, these are, like I said, you're avoiding the personalities of the skeptic, the complainer, the victim, the envious, the judgment, the cynic, the conversational hijacker, the dramatist, the passive-aggressive, the gossiper. These are all things that you want to, move past, because it doesn't make you happier, and it doesn't elevate you to a higher consciousness or a higher self. The passive-aggressive is the other person that, in my past I've probably been accused a couple of times of being passive-aggressive. But it's really, this person is angry and often fearful, and they aren't able to express their anger or irritation, so they find less obvious ways to do it. It's also would be gaslighting, if you don't know what gaslighting is, but somebody that's passive-aggressive. So, the narcissist, I think we could all think of a few narcissists in our journey, and people that are in the public eye right now that are very, very narcissistic. So these are just a few personalities to help you on your Monday morning to move forward, to help you on your spiritual path, help you on your spiritual journey. I like to give totem animal spirits, and I love to give numerology numbers for the week. So your totem animal spirit actually is anything with feathers, because today when I was getting my coffee, I, in my path, found a feather. So this morning, your totem animal spirit is the feather. The feather represents hope. The feather represents the spirit ways of coming through. Now, of course, the analytical mind, the skeptics that are watching would say, well, Mark, that's just a feather that fell from a bird. It is, but when you find these sign, symbol, synergy, and synchronistic events that I talk about all the time, they have personal meaning to you. I know that the feather has a personal meaning to me. It has a personal meaning to my family. And so the feather is your totem animal spirit. Anything with feathers, or if you find a feather. The number for this week is the number 9, which is a double completion number. 9 means that you're completing something, but to have compassion for the week ahead, for whatever you're dealing with, compassion. number 99. So 9 is a double completion, but have compassion. And of course, this week, I'm going to give you the jasper. So I've actually got a nice jasper stone here. You can see it's a nice green. I like to hold it and have it with me here. And if you've never worked with crystals, I highly recommend it. They're like amplifiers for your spiritual journey. But the jasper itself, it comes in, like I said, it comes in a lot of different colors. This is your prospecting stone for the week. But the jasper, what I wanted to share with you is the jasper is known as the supreme nurturer. So it sustains and supports during times of stress and brings tranquility and wholeness. It's used in healing, and I do use my jasper a lot when I'm doing a healing session with somebody. It unifies all aspects of life. Jasper reminds people to help each other. So your totem animal spirit is the feather. Your number this week is a double 99, which means complete things as we move into the summer and have compassion for what you're doing. And the jasper stone is a nice healing stone. You can wear it. You can get in a big piece like this. And it's known as the supreme nurturer. So that's your message for this week. I'm going to send this over to my YouTube channel. Again, if you are not part of my YouTube channel, the link is down below or in the description of this video. Go ahead and subscribe. So if you missed today's show live on Metaphysical Mocha through Facebook Live, you can catch me over on my YouTube channel anytime you like. And it's a lot of fun. It was about 250 videos, podcasts, what I call just true soul adventures. So I'll be back here in about 30 seconds for the prospecting Q&A after show. So get your questions ready. If you have a question, the more specific your question, the more specific your answer that you get from me. If it's just a general reading, that's fine. If you guys are going to come back for the prospecting Q&A after show and I bring you live on air, especially if it's mediumship, I'd ask that you'd have a headset and ask that you turn your volume down for any kind of interactions that we do. But again, today is just happy prospectors. Avoid these types of personalities: the skeptic, the complainer, the victim, the envious, the judgment, the cynic, the conversational hijacker, the dramatist, the passive-aggressive, and the gossiper. All things to help you on your journey, all things to look forward to avoid if you want to. Again, free will and choice to who you want to interact with in life. I personally don't, and as I get older, the spiritual path becomes a little bit more lonely because you're not caught up in all the different personalities that are surrounded, and you end up seeking peace and joy and solitude and silence, and there's nothing wrong with that. So, again, thank you for joining me this morning. I hope that you have a fabulous week. Join me next Monday for another Metaphysical Mocha Mondays, where there are inspirational messages for the week ahead. And if you want to learn more about me, you can go to marclainhart.com. You can internet search the Intuitive Prospector. Find me here on Mondays. You can find me on Wednesdays for Inspired Living Radio. And you can also find me through the Alexa app. If you want to get positive affirmations, just ask to open Ariel's Positive Living. I just recorded the actual messages, so you'll actually hear the inspirations in my voice now. So I'm looking forward to that rolling out. But if you have an Alexa or an Echo, just ask to open up Positive Living and get inspirational messages for the week ahead from me. So I hope that you have a fantastic week and that you're enjoying the summer and getting out and exploring and discovering through body, mind, and spirit. Until our next soul adventure together, be kind, be caring, be compassionate, and we'll see you next Monday. Take care, everybody. Namaste.